All right, do you struggle with a slice? I've got a regripping trick that might help you out. Let's go. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. So if you slice the golf ball and you've struggled with it and you can't seem to get it to stop slicing, this is the video to watch. Okay, first thing, why do you slice the ball? Very simple. You slice the ball anytime the club face is open in relation to your swing path. So if the club face is pointing for a right-handed golfer further right than the path line is going, the ball is going to slice. So that means if I take a swing and my path is out to in, even if I keep the face basically perfectly square, what you end up seeing is something that looks like that, a fade, or in some cases, a slice. Now you can see here, the face was actually slightly closed at impact, but my path was 7.5 degrees out to in. So that's 7.5 degrees over the top. Even though the face was closed, it wasn't closed enough to be square to the path, and the ball slices. All right, number two. I think everyone has this idea in their head, or most people, that however you swing the club, if you're into out, if you're over the top, whatever, that you swing that way throughout the entire bag, whether it's a wedge, a mid-iron, fairway wood driver, any of them. And so the swing path basically stays the same. Let me show you with just a little example using myself, because I know this is actually how it goes. I'm going to hit a few balls. This is a 7-iron. We're just going to kind of keep track of what the path is doing here. Club path, into out, 0.7. Club path, into out, 0.9. All right. Now I'm going to switch and do a little bit longer club. This is a 4-iron now. And I'm going to try and just make the exact same swing. Again, didn't try to change anything. That was a pretty good shot right there. Let's see what we got out of that one. About the same, 0.7 again. That one was not hit as well. And once again, still 0.7. So my irons, as you can see, relatively consistent, about 1 degree into out. But now, let me switch to my driver. Toe draw there. Notice what we got just now. We've gone from being into out pretty consistently to actually now about 2 degrees out to in. Again, I'm not trying to swing out to in. If anything, I'm trying to swing into out. But well, I overcorrected. Once again, out to in, 1.8 degrees. A little high on the face, but it is definitely straighter. Three swings in a row, right here, out to in, basically every single time, 2 degrees. So I've essentially moved from my irons being, call it 1 degree into out, to now my driver is actually 2 degrees out to in. And that's the thing I want to point out here, because everyone, again, thinks that, oh, if I'm out to in with my driver, I'm out to in with my irons, or vice versa. But in most cases, especially with people who slice the ball, that move that makes you slice the ball gets progressively bigger and bigger as you get into the longer and lighter golf clubs. So what ends up happening is you may actually be maybe in to out like me, or maybe just a little bit out to in with the shorter clubs. They're shorter, they're heavier, you're in general swinging them a little smoother. You get to the driver, it's longer, it's lighter, you're trying to hit it harder, and all of a sudden your swing path changes from, in this case, in to out to in. All right, now we get to the re-gripping trick. And like we've talked about already, that slice is caused by, one, that face being open in relation to your path, but two, also recognizing that your path is not always the same with every club in the bag. So, re-gripping trick. Step one, we're going to want to pick out a grip that has some sort of alignment help on it. Now this can be as simple as just any grip that has a logo printed on it. Now from there we can move on to a grip that has more visual alignment, which something like this not only has the logo on it, but it's also got these little shapes, patterns, again, to give you even more help getting that club set up, getting your hands, getting that grip set up consistently time after time. Now these are all visual cues, but there's also grips that offer actual tactile help in alignment. And that's going to be something like this Golf Pride Align, or from Lampion, the Calibrate, or quite frankly, any number of what are called ribbed grips that are just grips that have some sort of extra rubber material running down the back of them to give you a little bit of actual feel for where the grip is pointing or where your hands are pointing. So even if you close your eyes when you hold a grip like this, you can kind of tell where the face is pointing because you can feel that ridge running down the back. In my opinion, if you want to get the most out of this tip, I would recommend a grip that not only has the visual, but also the tactile alignment help to it, because I think that gives you the best chance. All right, I'm going to be using this Lampion grip. It has, again, not only the logo, but all these alignment lines and patterns on the top of it. Here's where we have to get a little bit personal, because I've shown you what my personal swing kind of does, being that my irons are slightly in to out, but my driver is slightly out to in. You're going to have to assess for yourself, do you have sort of two swings, or maybe you have three swings? Maybe your short clubs are one way, your mid irons, your long irons are something else, and then your driver is the most slice prone, the most over the top. Once you figure that out, this is what we're going to do. I've got this grip installed on a 9-iron, so we're going to set this like we have 3 different swings, just as an example. My short iron swing, let's say, is pretty much perfectly square, maybe in to out, and I don't usually have a slice or a fade issue with it. So we've got this grip set up perfectly square. If you brought this club into a shop and said, I want my clubs regripped, this is how you would hope they would return them to you, perfectly in line. All the sight lines, all the logos are all perfectly in line with the scoring lines, with the leading edge of the club. It's what you want. Now again, we're setting this up perfectly square because this is a club we feel like we don't usually hit much of a fade, much of a slice with. We get something that looks like that. Again, pretty much perfectly straight. No need to make any adjustments with the grip. Once we get into the clubs where you feel like, oh yeah, those are the clubs where I always see that tail off to the right or to the left if you're left-handed, that is where we are now going to start to change things up a little. So I've now got this 4-iron, and let's say for me the 4-iron was starting to slice. I was starting to get some of that over-the-top move. So what we are going to do now is, instead of installing this grip perfectly straight where all the alignment is nice and square to a square club face, I've actually got this grip installed so that when I hold the grip perfectly square, the club face is actually closed now. So I have got this grip installed closed on this club. Now what that means is, this is basically now just a little reminder or a little help to get that face a little bit more closed. Again, going back to why do we slice the ball? Because the face is open to the path. So what we're doing here is just trying to help get that face more in line with the path. So now this club is basically set up about, call it 2 degrees closed, because the grip I'm still gripping the same way, but now the club face is pointing a little further left. And so what we get right there, and that was actually a perfect example because I think my path was probably slightly out to in with that swing, but you can see the line perfectly straight, meaning that the path and the face were nice and in line, and we get a shot that basically goes perfectly straight because everything was lined up. All right, you guys have been paying attention, so I think you know where this is headed at this point. As we move into the club that for most people is going to be the one that they have the biggest issue with that slice, the driver, sometimes the fairway woods, we're now going to take the same idea and just push it a little bit further. So instead of calling it, say, 2-3 degrees closed, like we did with the previous one, I've now got this grip installed, probably call it, I don't know, 5 degrees closed, so that if I hold this club and the grip is pointing nice and straight, the face of the club is now shut 5 degrees. All right, so the square grip gives us a nice closed face. I think for a lot of people, they would take that shot all day long right there. Let's see what we had. And as you can see, club path, again, right there in that 1.8 out to in, which has been pretty much what I've done every single time. Face closed enough to actually give us, and I hit it a little bit out on the toe, which gave us a little extra help, but I would call that basically a straight shot, and definitely the face was not open, which would give us that high right fade type shot. Again, we're trying to do two things here. One, realizing that we need to get that club face squared up to the path. Having the face and the path in the same direction is going to give you straighter shots. But at the same time, we don't want to be painting with such a broad brush that we just say, oh, if I'm slicing my driver, I'm going to go ahead and install all of these grips shut so that everything is now going to go further left, because guess what? A lot of your clubs don't need that. The method I've shown you here, utilizing a few different grip settings, let's call it, will allow you to isolate the clubs that are giving you trouble and straighten those out without having a detrimental effect on the clubs that are already working the way they should. So realize it's all about face and path, and also realize you don't just have one swing. For a lot of us, you're going to have more than one path, and you want to make sure that you make these adjustments based on that. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you go down below, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you'll be alerted when I post new videos. If you're interested in a fitting, in a custom build, in a repair, anything like that, all my contact information here at Elite Fit Golf is down below, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.